to do to protect yourself from the epic Equifax credit breach. Almost every American now, 143 million, I know we're at 330 million people in America, but adults that have credit, you're talking about the chances of you being impacted by this epic credit breach is very high. So you're probably impacted, and you probably should figure out what to do. I'm going to help you with that today. There's 3 things you need to know in order to save yourself from identity theft. There's a lot of reasons that will be figured out in the future of how this happened. Evidently, Equifax is using a low security veil in one of their computer programs. Hackers got into this. They've known about it for a couple of months. But effectively, they've stolen your social security number, your address, pretty much everything about you that would help some sort of bad person in the United States or around the world, we don't know, go apply for a loan in your name, and you don't ever know about it. Imagine how bad this could be. And this has happened, and I've seen this over the course of many years. You get your identity stolen. Somebody goes and opens up a credit card in your name, a loan in your name, and then just never pays it back. Imagine what that does to your credit. It will ruin your credit. And it'll take you 2 to 3 to 4 years to fix it. In the meantime, you go to buy a car, sorry, credit denied. You go to buy a house, sorry, mortgage denied. It's a nightmare. And it costs thousands and thousands of dollars and so much time to fix it. So you do not want your identity stolen. And we're going to tell you how right now how to protect against this. I've talked to my good friend Clark Howard and their team about this. Clark has written about this. I just posted an article about this as well. And I'm going to help you so that you don't have to worry about this. Here are the 3 things you need to know. The first one has to do with, very simply, you've got to go freeze your credit. It's so much easier than it sounds. Freezing your credit effectively secures or locks anyone, including you if you do this, from getting new credit inquiries. So you freeze your credit at the big 3, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. You go each one of their websites. They all have slightly different rules. That'll be in the article that we post on westmoss.com in just a few minutes. You can go to their website. By the way, I just went to TransUnion's website. It was down from what I can see. Equifax was working fine on the freeze your credit page, but Experian was also down. So as we speak, there is a lot of interest in this freezing your credit. So be patient with these websites. If they're not up as we speak, you can do this tomorrow or the next day. Hey, if you haven't frozen your credit, it's not emergent. You just want to get it done over the course of the next several days or several weeks. Remember, it's going to take these hackers months and months to weed through this data to go use your Social Security information to go apply for a loan. So go to the websites themselves, TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. Go to the credit freeze page. If you don't find it, you can go to my website. We're going to post this article in a few minutes. It'll lead you right to the page. A lot of this information, again, you can find also at Clark Howard's website under his credit freeze guide. But I'm giving you the kind of the cliff notes on what to do here. 1, we freeze your credit. You will get a PIN number when you freeze your credit. And that PIN number is something that you may want to tattoo on your body because you do not want to lose that PIN number. If you lose the PIN number, I repeat, do not lose the PIN number because if you do, it will be very difficult to unthaw your credit. And you're going to need to unthaw your credit. Freezing it doesn't impact any of the credit lines you already have open. Doesn't impact your mortgage, doesn't impact your credit cards. But if you went to go get a new loan and your credit is still frozen, you're not going to be able to get a new credit or a new credit line. So the great thing about freezing your credit is you can quickly thaw your credit for a day or 2 days or a week, and then it can automatically go back to being frozen. And all you need to do this, you go back into the website, you enter your PIN number, and you can freeze and unthaw your credit effectively at will for a few bucks. So it's totally worth doing this. Probably the best way to safeguard yourself against identity theft. So again, freeze your credit, remember your PIN, tattoo it on your body somewhere so that you never ever forget it. Number 2, you got to be able to monitor your accounts. We live in a cyber world today. This is not the 1950s where you let your bank statement once a month or you write it down in a little passbook savings account. Those days are over. You've got to be vigilant. You've got to monitor. So number 2 is monitor. Number 1 is freeze. Number 2 is monitor your accounts. I do this in a couple different ways. The first way, the free way, it's a wonderful way to do this, is Credit Karma. So creditkarma.com. Sign up for an account at Credit Karma. You will be shocked at how much they already know about you because they're getting this information from the credit agencies. It will, again, show you. You've got to log in. It will send you alerts if somebody is trying to open up credit in your name. Hard credit inquiries. So use Credit Karma as a free resource that helps monitor all of your credit accounts. It'll actually give you your 2 scores. It gives you TransUnion and Equifax are the 2 credit scores it gives you right out of the gate. Sign up for Credit Karma. I would do that immediately. There's no downside to doing it from what I can tell. I've used this for many, many years. It's been a while since I've logged in. Just re-logged in today. It's got every single thing about me, and it helps you monitor that, and it is free. Number 2, I pay for LifeLock. You probably heard the commercials. Remember the guy going around, the CEO hit his, put his Social Security number on a big truck and drove it around town. LifeLock is a way you can pay around $10 a month or $20 a month or slightly higher depending on the level of the plan. But LifeLock will also help you monitor, which is the key here, everything going on in your accounts. If anything seems out of whack in one of your investment accounts or banking accounts, you will get a text message from them, you will get an email from them, you will get a phone call from them. It's almost to the level of annoyance. But what it does is it makes you go in and make sure that spending at a gas station on your way down to Destin or the Gulf or headed up north is actually you. If you write a big check, they're going to ping you with a text or a voicemail because it's important to monitor that these transactions aren't being done by somebody else. So the monitoring piece of LifeLock, in my opinion, is worth the $10 a month. They will also give you you hear this commercial about the $1 million guarantee. The $1 million that they will afford you is a service guarantee, so up to $1 million in paying for lawyers and attorneys and specialists to help get your credit back and in the right place. So remember that the first one is freeze, the second one is monitor. I use LifeLock and I use Credit Karma. You should do the same. The third way to monitor all these accounts is just to go into your bank account. If you use Charles Schwab, or you use TD Ameritrade, or you use Fidelity, or you use Vanguard, particularly the bigger banks like Schwab and Fidelity, where you can also use your investment accounts as checking accounts, go in and monitor them. Go in once a day, once, 2-3 times a week, and just make sure that the purchases are your purchases on Amazon or your checks that you are writing. That is the key here, is monitor what's happening in the world of your own finances. Finally, you've got to be vigilant. Vigilant is number 3 on the list. So it's freeze, it's monitor, and it's vigilant. Really what we're talking about here in monitoring is really just being aware and vigilant of what's happening in your financial life. You've got to be on top of this stuff. How do you do that? I can tell you, with a family, multiple kids, I'm married, my wife has accounts, I have accounts. Before you know it, you could have a dozen different accounts to monitor. Investment accounts here, checking accounts there, a joint account here. Next thing you know, it gets to be impossible to find and follow all of your accounts. So I would suggest you choose 1 or 2 good institutions. Have 1 good investment firm that you use. Have 1 good bank that you use so that you can try to limit the number of accounts that you have. Because let's face it, if you have a dozen or 2 dozen different accounts, it becomes nearly impossible to monitor everything. You can use services like Mint, like Wella, which is getwella.com, GETWELA.com. There are ways to aggregate all the different bank accounts you have into one portal so that you can monitor your spending in that way. That's another development that you can use to be vigilant and monitor all the transactions. But the bottom line here is you've got to simplify your financial life so that you understand when something out of the ordinary is happening. Again, I'm going to post the article on this. It'll have a link to all these different websites so that you can freeze your credit, which is, unless you've got a bunch of new things happening, like you're about to go refi a house or about to go get a car or about to go get a mortgage, I would tell you, if you've got a couple credit cards already and you're going to be in your house for the next 10 years, freeze your credit. there's really not a lot of downside to it as long as you don't lose your PIN. So with that, I just talked to you about the 3 ways to protect yourself from this epic, disastrous credit card breach. And Equifax, just assume that all your personal information is spread throughout the world. The world we live in is already like that. If you get a Facebook account, between Facebook, Google, and now your identity or your personal information being stolen probably more than once, and your credit card numbers being stolen on average 3 times per American, this is the reality of the new digital financial world we live in. So freeze your accounts, remember your PIN, monitor your accounts, LifeLock, Credit Karma, and on your own, and be vigilant from now moving forward so that you don't get taken advantage of. Thanks for being with us. Wes Moss here. Follow me on Twitter at Wes Moss, WESMOSS.com. At Wes Moss 365. Twitter, Facebook page, Wes Moss Money Matters, and then the YouTube channel, Wes Moss Money Matters. Have a wonderful, credit safe rest of the day.